There's nothing in here. There's nothing in here. My faithful cameraman Leo. I don't know what to do. I'm just so frustrated. We need a guest for our new show, The Bonfire.
I really don't know who could be on.
I mean, we got the Poetry, Music, Art, and Dance Festival that's coming up, but we don't know any poets. We don't need dancers. We certainly don't know any artists. All we know is musicians. But they're all busy.
I can't think of any single person that could represent it that's not booked.
Wait. There may be one. Hello, Williamsville East, and welcome to the Bonfire. Today, we are interviewing Mr. Aidan Beecher.
Hello, thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to be talking about Today, we're going to be talking to him about his piece called Mask. So, Aidan, what's the instrumentation of your piece? Why did you choose those instruments?
So my instrumentation for that piece was accordion and violin, and I chose that because I'd been listening to some similar sounding music before, and I thought that it would be interesting to compose a similar sounding piece just because I had access to an accordion and because I knew how to play it.
Right, let's talk about that accordion. Could you talk to me a little bit about the accordion, how it works, where you got yours from, why you play it?
Yeah, sure. So basically, the accordion, it is a member of the free reed instrument family. It's actually the same family as harmonicas, and so this accordion is around like 70 years old. I got it from my great uncle. He had it for a while sitting in his basement, and he just gave it to me because he knew I was interested in musical instruments. So basically, it works by circulating air through the accordion by like stretching and compressing it, and when you press down a key you open up reeds inside, and that lets air flow through them and vibrate them and cause them to make sound.
Beautiful. Absolutely outstanding. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about composition because that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Did you write your piece in one long sitting, or do you write it in individual chunks? What's your routine for when you sit down and you want to compose?
Well, see, usually I tend to take it in smaller pieces, but this one I wrote most of it in one sitting because I just kind of got an idea that just kind of popped up in my head out of nowhere, and I wanted to make sure I could get it all down. So I sat there for a couple hours just writing the entire thing.
So inspiration struck. And
yes,
you had to
inspiration
heed the call.
I had to make sure it wasn't squandered.
That's why we brought him on, guys. He's got beautiful vocabulary. So what was the revision process like? Who were you talking to? What did you say? How do you re-examine a piece after you've sat down and written it all out like that?
Well, essentially, you kind of have to. It's good to talk to different people and get what their opinions are on the piece, and also just to hear it played like with the actual instrumentation and not just like a MIDI recording from MuseScore, because that does not sound good at all. So I talked to Dr. Schuin a lot about it. We listened to it a bunch of times, and he gave me some sections for some suggestions for specific parts in the piece that maybe they could have been improved like by doing certain things. And in one part I actually added an entire section because it stayed in the same key the entire time, which I thought it would be interesting if I added a key change. I thought that would add variety to the piece. So that was a big thing I did. Like, that was also one of Doc's suggestions too.
Right, so talking to people you know, making sure that you're getting suggestions from other people, getting feedback. Yeah. So that's a very long revision process. Like, how long would you say that it took to write your piece from beginning to end?
So it wasn't really one like big thing like where I did with my piece just all in one sitting. It kind of, depending on like how big like or drastic the changes are, it can take like varying amounts of time. So like you might go back and just change one thing. It might take a couple minutes. You might do that a bunch of times. You might go back and like start working on an entire section. Like that might take a while depending on how long the section is and like how many ideas you've already got. You might like sit and think about it for a while and then come back to it later, something like that.
Right. So I know you experienced some struggles during the preparation of your piece because you had to change players. How did you circumvent that difficulty?
Well, yeah. So basically, I mean, we started originally with Matt Cohn, and we played together when we a couple of weeks ago, and I was pretty satisfied with how it sounded at first. Like I thought that I was getting the color right with the instrumentation and just how I had the parts written out. And so I was pretty satisfied with that. Unfortunately, Matt, he wasn't able to play the day of the concert. He had some other commitments he had to make. And so we switched to Grace Speller. She's playing that with us now. They're both excellent violinists. I'm satisfied with both of their playing. And, you know, it's been really fun playing with both of them, and I've enjoyed the piece a lot. And I think, obviously, it takes time to prepare a piece, so it hasn't been, like, perfect. We've been working on it, like, with some rehearsals. You know, we've been looking over the parts, kind of finding all the errors and, like, just kind of rehearsing it a bunch of times. You know, it's been getting better ever since. I mean, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good performance.
So you, as I am as well, are a big member of our music department here at East. Talk a little bit about what it means to be a dedicated member of the music department, coming into those early morning rehearsals, staying after.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it can be a big commitment and can be a hassle sometimes, but, you know, I think that in the end it is worth it because it is a lot of fun and you do get a lot out of it if you're someone that does enjoy playing music, and I definitely do enjoy playing music. Especially seeing as I picked up an instrument and tried
Play
to
like 15 instruments. Bagpipes are coming, guys.
Yeah.
Watch out for the bagpipes.
Yeah, just keep your eyes peeled. They're coming.
So, what's your favorite thing about coming in and rehearsing every day? Sitting down with the group, seeing progress being made. Do you say that has a positive impact on your life?
Yeah, you know, it is rewarding too. Like when you come in the first time and it's just like, okay, it's not that good, but like you come in, like you keep working on it over and over again, and you see like you got this final product and it's like really cool, and like you see that you're a part of this whole like ensemble and like something you contributed to, and it's like really cool just to see all of your hard work pay off and everyone else's work pay off. It's kind of like one big team, you know.
Right. Yeah. It's our sports.
Yes, it's our sports. It's nerd sports.
It's the only sports we could do. Don't take it away from us, please.
Actually,
new music department, funding coming. That's us. Okay. So to conclude, how can we come see the show?
Well, the show is Sunday, April 7th at 3 p.m. So if you want to see the show, it's free. Just come in Sunday at that time, and yeah, you can just go to the Odd and you can watch the show.
Yeah, that's Sunday, April 7th at 3 p.m. at East. So everybody come and enjoy the Poetry, Music, Art, and Dance Festival. We will see you with the panel. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are here with our excellent panel today. We're going to talk about a few pressing issues today. With me on my right is Gabe Guo.
I'm Gabe, and I'm cool.
Thank you, Gabe, for your wonderful insight. See, we're already starting on a great note. And here we have Leo.
Hey guys, I'm Leo.
It's just Leo.
Yeah, you've probably maybe seen my twice as interesting episodes with David Chung. Might know me from there.
Yeah, everybody's seen those.
He's a pretty big thing around these
Big
parts.
thing.
Big.
All right, let's get back into the issues, even though we really, really want to talk about Leo for just hours upon end. We're going to start with Gabe, who's going to talk a little bit about AI.gov.
All right, so recently on February 11th, 2019, the White House, led by Trump, launched this site called AI.gov. And basically, this is an extension of the executive order on AI. And I think that it's actually a good move. I mean, okay, personally, I'm not pro-Trump, but I think every president does good and bad things, and I do think that this was a reasonable move considering the growing power of AI in today's society. Thoughts?
Yeah, to add on that, I think it's extremely important. I mean, we've seen artificial face recreation, some very realistic text creation, deep fakes, where we're putting somebody else's face on somebody else's body. Like, we're already seeing these kind of sci-fi-ish ideas coming into reality. I mean, they're not really conceivable yet in a massive scale, but it's coming to be the point where you can't quite trust what you're seeing. Somebody's saying something, you can't quite trust that they're actually saying that. So it's just very important to do your research. It's very important to have resources by the government to talk about these issues.
But the thing about that text generation and the face generation you mentioned, if you've been on thispersondoesnotexist.com and tried the demos, there are very obvious issues with those generation algorithms.
Yeah, it's not anywhere near perfect.
Face swabs on the side, and then you can tell that it's fake because even though the face looks real, the background is super distorted.
Mm-hmm.
So cool, but there's still a long way to go.
We're still a ways away from it, but of course it's important to build infrastructure for oncoming threats before they happen. So it's great that we're starting right now.
Obviously, we should contain this technology, obviously not let it go rampant, because if we let it loose right now and have it completely just... I mean, if we don't control it now, it'll eventually reach a point where it can do some serious damage, and the whole thing, we should really try to prevent that.
Yeah, and I think this executive order on AI is one of few like good moves with like foresight in this current administration. In my personal opinion, of course, not to be taken as objective fact.
Of course, everything we say, as a great reminder, is opinion, but we try to do our research, and we encourage you all to do your own research on anything that we say here.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to now my topic. We're going to talk about the 2020 census, and if you think that's a little farther away, well, you haven't been seeing the news lately with the election going on in 2020 that we're already talking about. 2020 census, they're already accepting applications. So this process has already started. 2020 census is extremely important because it determines grant money, it determines seats in the House of Representatives, and it determines redistricting. Redistricting is extremely important because that depends on who is counted as a collective group to be represented by one person. So, the current system allows it where current elected representatives can choose to redistrict, but that has led to a lot of controversy due to so-called gerrymandering, which is the construction of specified districts to ensure a certain party will win, either by splitting up a bunch of people so they can't form together to elect a person, or concentrating them all into one specific part so they get less representation. Anyway, that you look at it, it is a way that we could call subverting democracy. So, should redistricting be done by an outside nonpartisan group outside of our country, like California, I believe, has started to do?
I strongly feel that it should be done by an outside nonpartisan committee, because a lot of these, politicians or officials have their own personal agendas to push, and I think whenever you can outsource something to a third party, you should do it. And that's actually why our Department of Defense, I think that's why it's good that our Department of Defense is outsourcing to companies like Lockheed Martin to build our defense things. So there has been a precedent for outsourcing in other departments of government.
Right. Leo?
Because we really have to take into account that not all politicians are there because they love their people, because they want to represent and make people's voices be heard. So, I mean, I totally agree that we should have a third party do it, because there's just so much that could.
It's so open to manipulation.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you have somebody that's really interested in serving their constituents, I mean, you're always going to have personal bias.
It's a system that's really easy to take advantage of.
And that way nobody can complain. It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
We'll see how a current case in the Supreme Court plays out regarding this issue. Speaking of the Supreme Court, we got another part to this issue. We have the Trump administration has floated asking a citizenship question on the census, which there's two sides to this issue. One side is could make the count inaccurate. If you ask people if they're a citizen or not, and they're not a citizen, well, now you've just got on record that somebody's not a citizen. They could be deported. Also, they're not going to be as likely to fill out that form. That's going to lower the number of people. That's going to make representation a little tricky because you're going to have representation based on citizens, not based on just general population. So you're going to have less grant money for certain high population sanctuary cities that hold a lot of people that aren't here legally, whether that's through whatever means that's through. There's plenty of different ways that people come to this country illegally, not just criminal. So should there be a citizenship on the question on the census?
I really don't think so, and the reason why I say that is, well, first of all, because of what you said, but the more driving reason for me is because I feel that America has historically been a land of non-citizens, so to speak, and we rely on the contributions of everyone from, wherever they are from, we rely on their contributions. And I think if they're contributing citizens and they're, helping our country and, working and everything, I don't see any reason to, ask them if they're citizens or not, because why should it matter if they...
So you believe in a conceivable path to citizenship as well for these people who are living here peacefully, non-violently, contributing to society, that would allow them to be counted as citizens. But until then, if they're living here peacefully, you believe they should be counted by the census.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I mean, to take into account, not everyone can become an American citizen. That's it, like some people have a hard time doing this. So this is obviously a path for like actual hardworking immigrants to find their. I mean, it opens up a new pathway to citizenship and ultimately a better life, which definitely America should keep pushing because that's what it was founded upon.
So we're all in agreement that we want to push for a path to citizenship in the future, but right
Yes.
now we should still not ignore those people that are living here now
Yes.
in this count.
Right. Yeah, we shouldn't ignore them. We should, we should just like leave the question off.
Right, perfect. So that looks like it's going to wrap it up for
Yeah.
this week. Tune in next week for hopefully we will have James coming on, talks about some Roblox. I know you guys have been itching for some Roblox content.
Yes.
It's finally coming next week.
Ooh.
Looks like our budget got cut. That's
a
it for
different
this
issue,
week.
though.
Yes.
That's a next issue.
All right. See
See
you
you
later,
later.
East.
Bye.